Hello my dear friends and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about the Supreme Court order on EPFO. First of all, coming to the current affairs, the Supreme Court has upheld a Kerala High Court judgment against the EPFO, that is Employees Provident Fund Organization. So first of all, let us understand what is EPFO. EPFO or the Employees Provident Fund Organization is an organization tasked to assist the Central Board of Trustees, and it is under the administrative control of the Ministry of Labour, Employment, Government of India. So in this lecture we will discuss about the Supreme Court's order on the EPFO. But before we begin, this is our channel StudyIQ and we are providing pen drive courses for various competitive examinations including SSC and bank courses, UPSC optionals, SSC JE courses, teaching examinations, railway examinations, defense examination, RBI grade B, NABARD grade A, UGC NET, UPSC Civil Services Examination, CLAT exams for various state PSCs and also for various professional courses. You can visit our website www.studyiq.com for more details, or you can call to any of these numbers for more information. Now let us first understand what is the case. The Employees Pension Amendment Scheme 2014 was brought in force through a notification. And as per the amendment of Employees Pension Scheme, the new members who joined the EPF, that is Employees Provident Fund, after September 1st, 2014, with a basic salary of over 15,000 per month were excluded from EPS. So, if the basic salary is more than 15,000, they would be excluded from EPS, and if they joined the service after September 1st of 2014. And the Kerala High Court had struck down this amendment. So, the Kerala High Court in this regard observed that restricting the pension contribution to rupees 15,000 criteria was arbitrary. So further, the employees were allowed to choose to contribute to pension on higher pay at any point in time and the timeline to exercise such option. So this amendment was struck down by the Kerala High Court. The EPFOs, that is Employees Provident Fund Organization, appealed against the order of the Kerala High Court. And now the Supreme Court has upheld the Kerala High Court judgment. So this is the current affair and this is the case in detail. Now let us understand what is the possible implication of this. As a consequence of the judgment, certain amendments to how the pensions have been calculated will be struck down. So it will have an implication on how the pensions are being calculated. And the pension may be now calculated on the basis of average salary of last 12 months instead of last 60 months. So till now the basis was 60 months, the average of last 60 months. Now it will be average of last 12 months. So this will result in increase in the pension for employees who have already contributed to pension on full pay in the past. So this can lead to an increase in the pension. And this is because most people draw highest salaries near the end of their careers, that is before the retirement. Now let us take an illustration to understand this in better manner. So earlier the provision was that the last 60 months, average salary would be taken into consideration while deciding the pension. Now instead of 60 months, the last 12 months would be taken into consideration. And for an employee, when he starts his career, the salary or the basic pay would be the lowest. And as he increases the number of years in service, the basic pay or the salary also tends to increase. And towards the retirement, that is nearing the retirement, the salary would be the highest because the pay scale will increase. So earlier, when 60 months average was taken into consideration, there was a chance that pension would be lower compared to the 12 months average. So now the provision is that the last 12 months average would be taken. It means that towards the retirement, that is the 1 year before retirement salary, the 12 months salary would be averaged to calculate the pension. So it means that the pension amount will definitely have an increase or hike. And as a consequence of this, those who had a particularly high previously drawn salary and several years of service might see their pension raised as much as by 1000%. And the ruling of the Supreme Court also allows all the existing members of the EPFO to avail the option of contributing on full basic pay to get a higher pension in the future. And also the Supreme Court order is important in the sense that this has also opened the doors for the employees who were till now excluded from the EPS to join this. This is because it was decided that the cap of 50,000 would be set. So now the Supreme Court has upheld the order of Kerala High Court that the arbitrary nature of setting the cap cannot be implemented. So now the doors are open for anyone to join the EPS. So earlier those persons who were excluded from the EPS, they can also join the EPS now. However, the EPFO, the Employees Provident Fund Organization, is yet to come out with its view on impact of the Supreme Court ruling. So they have not come out with their own views in this regard. Now the EPFO will have to clarify if the employees having basic pay exceeding 15,000 can enroll them for the EPS scheme or not. Now let us understand what are the concerns in the Supreme Court judgment. So we have seen that Supreme Court has upheld the verdict of Kerala High Court. Now the scheme is open for everyone. So opening up the scheme to those who are already excluded is not in compliance with the ethos of the Provident Fund. So if we look at the basic objective of the Provident Fund, the basic objective is to help the saving and retirement of those at the lower rank of the formal sector. So the objective is to help those employees in the formal sector who are in the lower levels of employment within the formal sector. So we can say that the Supreme Court judgment itself is in conflict with the basic objective of the Provident Fund. And there is also a larger concern that from where the money to pay such large pensions will come from. So the source of financing is again a question here. From where the EPFO will find such huge finances in order to pay much larger pensions. And the much bigger concern is regarding the Supreme Court's judgment, which is considered to be a legislative overreach. The structure of the pension plan, the profitability, the sustainability of the scheme, so the features of the scheme has to be determined by the executive. It is the executive that has to decide the proper distribution of subsidies and the taxes. And the support provided to the state guaranteed pension funds are also a subset of the fiscal decision. So it has to be largely decided by the executive. So naturally, the executive and not the judiciary should decide on the trade-offs that determine who benefits from the guaranteed pensions. So the terms and conditions of such schemes needs to be necessarily decided by the executive rather than the judiciary. And it is also entirely the executive's decision to decide on how much to spend or how to spend the tax revenue. So here the question is the judicious use of resources. So there are limited resources which needs to be diverted for various demands of the economy, and this diversion has to be done by the executive on taking into consideration the priorities. For example, the health care is a priority for the government or the executive than providing pensions. So the prioritization of revenue or resources is a necessary task of the executive rather than the judiciary. So here we can say that the judiciary has overreached into the jurisdiction of the executive by deciding the terms and conditions of the pension scheme. And a rational analysis on how to spend the resources can be more effectively dealt by the executive on deciding what proportion of the employee's earnings should be mandatorily saved, etc. So we can say that the biggest conflict of interest here is the overreach of the judiciary on the jurisdictions and matters which ought to be decided by the executive. You can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page, and for more video updates you can visit my Facebook page and follow it. You can also write to me at joycey.studyIQ@gmail.com. Thank you.